Yo, what's going on, everybody? It is 1 p.m. here in Chicago, Illinois. That means it's time for another live stream. Today is Thursday, May 26th, 2022. Because it's Thursday, it is happy hour. Today, I'm celebrating with Airborne. Not even noon today. I'm using this stuff. It comes in the tablet form, but it's one of those kind of like anti-cold kind of remedy type of things. But it's kind of noon-ish, and I'm actually out of noon, so I thought I'd celebrate with this. Although it's a pretty boring way to celebrate. This morning, I took I forget the exact formal name of the test, but it's to get a license or to get the certification so you can fly a drone commercially. And by commercially, the thing I want to do is just get some clips to put on YouTube. I did that today and I passed. So I'm going to celebrate. Cheers with some vitamin water, I guess. Not that exciting, but it's what I got. So let me know what you guys are celebrating the near end of the week with for happy hour. I'd love to hear what you guys are drinking. I do also have some afternoon coffee as well, so I'll be kind of double fisting today. It's that kind of happy hour. Before we get too far into it, let's say hi to everyone listening on the podcast on the audio only version. Hopefully you're having a good run out there today. It's starting to get warm here in Chicago. Very humid, very hot, so hopefully you guys are staying cool. And everyone watching this on YouTube after the fact, maybe it's real happy hour for you guys. Hopefully you're having something a lot more interesting than Airborne or Noon. Not that those things are bad, but they're not exactly happy hour drinks. All right, let's see who we got here in the chat. We got Brandon Lewis jumping out with a question. Says, hi with a wave. Says, which is better for long runs, the Nova Blast 2 or the Mach 4? I think that both are very good. I kind of say them in the same breath whenever I talk about my favorite shoes from last year. I probably will lean towards the Nova Blast 2. I don't know. I could go back and forth. It's been a while since I've run the Mach 4. I still have a pair of Nova Blast 2s, like my second pair of them. So I'm more familiar with that one. It might be Mach 4, but both are really good. I have a hard time deciding. I can't remember. I think I picked the Nova Blast 2 when I did the head-to-head video last year. I'm not sure. Now I'll have to go back and check. But they're both really good. Inna says, hi, Kofuzi and everybody. What's going on? And Runner Will says, what's good, my people? What's going on, Will? Good to see you. Run Tommy says, let's go. With greetings from Tampa. Hopefully you're staying cool down there, Tommy. And C-Town fan says, congratulations, Mike. I don't even know you had to pass a test to fly a drone. I think I need to. But I've been looking at it. I recently bought I ordered the new DJI Mavic Mini 3. I think that's the one. And it's a small drone. It's under 250 grams. So I don't even technically have to register it with the FAA because of its weight, but because of the way that I want to use it, which is to put the footage on my YouTube channel, I think that the FAA would consider that for a commercial purpose. And so in that situation, you're supposed to technically get this license. So I signed up for this test like a month ago, maybe 3 weeks ago. And kind of was thinking I would just study here and there very leisurely along the way. And then I got back from New York last weekend. I was like, oh, crud. When is that test? I feel like it's coming up. Fortunately, it wasn't until today. So I had the week to study for it. So I think I probably put in about, 15 hours. No, not 15. 8 hours, 7 hours studying for this test. Maybe less. Frankly, probably a little bit less. But I did okay. I did enough to pass. Now I got to submit my results. I don't know if they do a background check or something like that. And then they do some sort of clearance, like some sort of security clearance. And then I'll get my certificate. First you get a temporary one and then you get a real one in the mail. So I'll do all that stuff. So yeah. I'm not sure which one will arrive first, the drone or the certificate. Either way, I'll kind of need both of them to fly, but I'm looking forward to it. The main reasoning being some of these trips I'm going to be going on, a lot of them when they're in big cities, very hard to fly in a big city within the rules. But some of these places I'm going, I think it's going to be really fun to bring a drone, get some landscape shots and stuff like that. So just looking ahead. All right, Stephen Z says, night well done. And Stevie76 says, Number two pencil on Scantron? No, they actually discourage you from bringing anything of your own. So like I didn't even bring my phone, or I didn't even wear a watch to the exam. So I didn't realize that they were gonna have lockers and stuff for us. So all your personal belongings would go in a locker, and you have to like. I mean, they didn't do it for me, but they said like you would have to like flip your pockets inside out when you went into the testing center, and it was all on a computer. And then they gave me pencils because they wanted to provide them to me, but I didn't use the pencils or the calculator. But there was like some charts that I had to read and stuff like that, which I still don't feel great about. But I mean, I'm flying a little drone. Ultimately, there's I feel like they could really simplify it for people that are doing what I want to do. I'm not trying to, inspect bridges, do visual maintenance inspections on like, wind turbines and stuff like that. So I feel like there should be like even easier one for me, but just a multiple choice test on a computer. So yeah. As I'm droning on about drones. Yeah. I'm going to try not to do that too much because I know it's pretty boring. All right. Yeah, and it says though for that DJI drone, if I have the license, I will be able to use a high capacity battery, which takes it over the weight limit. That's true. That's true. I mean, I'll be registering it anyway. It's not like I can't register it, so I'll register it. I'll probably get the bigger battery, and then we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. Yeah. Shannon says, I wonder if Seth has a drone license. I assume his videos would get flagged, but do you need a different license for different countries, or is it good everywhere? I think you would need to figure out what the local regulations are. I don't know if there's any sort of like reciprocity in certain countries or anything like that. I can't imagine that like, let's say I were to go to, Spain in Malaga, for example, that they would require me to like get a drone pilot's license in Spain. I don't even know how to even begin with that. So I mean that's something that I'd have to investigate in the future. So we'll see. We'll see. I really don't know. Yeah. So yeah. Andrew says that different countries have different licenses, but yeah, it's up to each country whether or not they'll honor the license of a foreign country. Yeah. Lou Klein said that Ray Liotta died. OMG, breaking news. Yeah, I heard about that as I was driving home from the test. So yeah, it's sad news. He was in a lot of stuff. It was weird because like the local news, the radio station was like, Ray Liotta of Goodfellas. And then there was like two people on the news, which was kind of weird because like the local news that I listened to, the broadcast I listened to in the car, it's usually like, one person reading off a sheet of paper kind of thing. And all of a sudden there was two people on and they just went back and forth. He was like, he was also in this, and he was also in Field of Dreams, and he was also, and so they just kept going on. And it was just like, wow, I mean, this is a real reaction to the news, I think. So, yeah. And it says, if YouTube goes belly up, you can start inspecting those bridges with your drone. What's funny is my wife's godfather is a home inspector. And he used to fly a drone as part of his home inspection so he could see like the roof and take pictures of the roof and stuff like that. But after a while, he was like, I sold the drone and I don't have the license anymore because he's like, there wasn't a lot I couldn't do with a camera on a really long stick. And I'm like, tell me about it, Tom. Tell me about it. But yeah, so there are a lot of commercial uses for it. And I was just thinking like, well, what I could do is when I go back to Iowa, I mean, I wouldn't really use it to start a business, but if any of the people in Iowa want a free picture of their farm, maybe I'll come by and take a picture for them, and then they could frame it or whatever. So people like things like that, don't they? So I thought that'd be a nice way to kind of like, give back to the community a little bit, I guess. I don't know. We'll have to see how that works. What's funny is there's I forget when it came out. I think it came out during the pandemic. One of the local photographers who's like a photographer for the news, he put out a calendar, which is something that like news photographers do a lot. There's a guy out here, Barry Butler, who does the same thing. Really great photos. And his calendar was the churches of like eastern Iowa. And I was like, oh, I've actually been to, I've been to a lot of those churches, or I know, not been inside to attend services, but like I know where they are. So it was pretty funny. So, all right. Terry says drones. Pictures are nice, but the noise, it's like having your teeth drilled. Well, then you got to get the drone up in the sky. That's the thing. Once you get it up in the sky, this new one they say is a lot quieter, but you got to get it up in the air so you can't hear it. Let's see. Mandy wants to know. Mandy Paria LeBlanc says, "Hello, L. Any thoughts on the cloud monsters? I like them. I do think that they're probably the best on that I've run in. I also do like the cloud stratus, but the on feels the most. The on cloud monster feels the most bouncy of them all. But at the end of the day, I still don't love what on is doing. I love their apparel. I love what they're doing in terms of their professional running groups. I love everything that On does except for some of their running shoes, which is like, I guess it's a problem, you know. But they're not my favorite. But the people that enjoy On have enjoyed On already are really loving the monster. So I feel like in terms of like them and they're approaching their core audience, I feel like they've made something that their core audience is really going to enjoy. And it says his son is a training surveyor and they use binoculars. He should get a drone. Yeah, I think it's I think that they're useful. I just think that like I understand why the FAA has so many concerns about it, but I think that I mean I've been saying this for years. That's why I stopped flying drones for a long time. Because I had the DJI Spark. I bought that a long time ago when that first came out. But I think that yeah, it's still too complicated to do it. Like for people that are trying to do it the right way, it's really, really complicated. And so they need to figure that out. If they want this industry to grow, they might not want it to grow. So, you know, who knows? All right. Yeah. Stevie76 says Potato Jet. He uses a lot of drones. So, yeah, I mean, he's a really good pilot too. So we'll see. Yeah, Louis says, are we going to get the adapter for the Insta360 on that one? Probably not. Probably not. I don't know. It seems nice, but like, yeah, I don't know. I don't think so. I think that does just complicate things for me. I think my drone needs are like, if it wasn't for this fact that I wanted to go, like I would want footage from some very specific places. Like I was also thinking like, you know, instead of buying a drone and like worrying about flying it and carrying it and having the batteries and all that stuff, I should just buy stock footage, but I just have an aversion to stock footage. So I can't do that. And some of the places I'm going are pretty specific, and I'm not sure there'd be a lot of stock footage from there. So I don't know. Metra says, I was at Marshall's today, and they had Skechers knockoff ons. So are they knock-ons? Interesting. Yeah. I don't know. That's amazing that Skechers. I mean, Skechers. I guess will copy anything, right? So that I guess we shouldn't be surprised. Adam says to use the drone instead of a stick and save the arms. See, the thing is, I can't get the drone to follow me that closely, you know, and I don't know how to make it fly in the way that I would want for the drone that the drone captures me. I don't know. I think there's still a lot of complications to the drone, and I don't really know how much drone running footage that I'll capture. I mean, the motion tracking is getting really, really good, but still, it's just like unless I'm filming someone else running, I'm not sure how much of that I will want to do of myself. It's just a lot of stuff, but I do think that like it adds just a different element, different perspective, and especially if I'm going to start filming some more of those kind of like weekend long videos, I think that it just makes for nice, not filler, but good transitional shots to help kind of set stages, you know. So that's kind of the overall thought for it, you know. Frank says, I'm surprised the Cowboys haven't started using drones for finding free range cattle so far. Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I don't know. I think it might depend on how far away the cattle are going. I don't really know. I don't really know much about ranching. Is that what it's called? Yeah, I'm not sure. Mm, let's see. C-Town fan says I should use the drone as a crop duster. I am the crop duster. Yeah, so you got that there. Um, yeah. So, all right. Luke Klein wants to know, speaking of Skechers, is the Go Run line any good? I will say that, I mean, I've run in two different Go Runs, I think. I want to say that I ran in the Go Run Ride 8. Did I run in the Go Run Ride 9? I'm not sure. I think the Go Run Ride 10 just came out. And frankly, I'm not sure if I've tested the 9 at this point now that I think about it. Um, I don't know. But I really enjoyed the Run Ride 8. Surprisingly good. Once I stopped running in it, like after I got to the 100-mile mark on it, I kept wishing I still had it. So it's a really good shoe. I mean, the Razor series is good too. I'm annoyed that they're still on like Razor 3. I don't think that we're ever going to get a Razor 4. I think they're just going to keep calling it different. They're going to go the opposite way of the running industry. And instead of where everyone else is like 2, 3, 4, 5, they're just going to keep giving it Razor and then different suffixes or compound words to put in it. So, um, yeah. So like that's what they're going to do with that. The Razor line is really good, but I think like pound for pound or like dollar for dollar, I think the Go Run series is probably better. I don't know. I haven't. What's the Max Cushion one? Robbie, I believe in the Run really likes it. I don't know. I haven't tried that one yet. I I haven't tried a. I feel like I haven't tried a Skechers Performance shoe in a couple of years now. So we'll have to see. It looks like we got Tommy Runs in here. His best Kafuzi quote. I don't really know much about ranching. That's it's funny and true. Funny and true. um, yeah. Mm. Thomas Nguyen says, "Co, as catching up on some of your lives from this week's, what's typically on your music playlist on your runs?" Well, if it's an easy run, I'm usually listening to spoken word, and so like podcasts and audiobooks. Right now, I'm reading or listening to Simu Liu's book, which I didn't know he wrote a book until a little while ago. I think it's called An American Dream. It's pretty good. I mean, it's much better than I was expecting for a guy who's like kind of like storyline is he's like the first Asian Marvel superhero. I mean, that's a big deal, but it's got much more depth, emotional depth than I was expecting. So I would pick it. I mean, I'm not done with it yet, but I would suggest to most people to pick it up. It's really, really good. Um, or I'm just listening to running podcasts. So, like Tommy Runs, he's been putting out, I don't know why, but there's like one every day, but I've been listening to those. I listen to like every Believe in the Run, every Rambling Runner. I listen to most of the Rich Roll podcasts, but sometimes there's so much content in a week. It ends up being sometimes some weeks I feel like I've got like 6 hours of Rich Roll to get through, and that's just a lot. So I don't always get to it all. But music wise, I have a Kofuzi Run Club playlist on Apple Music. I think it's public and I think it's searchable, but that's usually what I listen to for workouts. Or I just listen to there's an Apple Music playlist called like Today's Hits or New Music, just whatever's on there. Um, so that's kind of like whatever I listen to. Like there's running playlists that are out there that are like, gym or workout or running playlists. I generally hate those. Um, but like, I don't know, the kind of stuff that I like could vary between rap to EDM to um, classical. I told one of my buddies, he lives in Austin now, and he's like he's really big into music. He's from Detroit, and he makes a lot of his own music too. And so he's like, what would you say is like your favorite kind of music? And I would say, my favorite kind of music is if robots made classical music. So that's kind of like my favorite kind of music. It's a very, I don't know what to call that, but so that kind of probably be it. I also enjoy, and I think they're really trippy. Have you ever seen like those videos where people or like people are sharing like this art was made by a machine or made by AI? And it always kind of looks like I forget the artist's name, but the scream. It always is like really wispy and spooky, and then it always invariably, no matter what it starts out making, there's like ghostly faces that appear in this art that that computers make. And so, yeah, I don't love that art as much as I like kind of like music that is kind of like grounded in classical musical theory, but also is a little bit cacophonous and futuristic and robotic sounding, kind of. But I would say overall, my interests are pretty varied. Mm. Paolo Arroyo says thoughts on the Magic Speed 2 leaks. I think it looks amazing. I have no idea what the foam is, what the plate's going to be like, or anything about it. But some of the colors that I've seen so far in leaks look great. I haven't seen anything from ASICS though. I've only seen leaks. Mark says, I like a lot of the chill hop and lo-fi stuff. They usually have a BPM around 80 to 90, so when you double it up, it's a great cadence for running. See, I like it. I like that too. But then sometimes it's like if it's too lo-fi, then it's just like a little bit too chill for me for running, and that doesn't always work that well for when I'm like trying to get in a workout. You know. Steve 76 says Kofuzi is a Swiftie. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that. Shannon says recently I like trap mixes on pop and rap. Yeah, I mean, I mean, it just has to have some drive to it, some kind of like energy behind it. So that's really what I'm looking for is just energy. Season fan says, sorry about my ignorance, Mike, but are you a native Chicagoan? Did I get that right? I mean, I've been living here for 18 years. So I would say I'm from Chicago, but I'm not from Chicago. So, which, if you talk to, I mean, depending on the people you're with, you're not from Chicago still. So it's one of those kinds of places. Martha says, if you like robot recreated classical, go back in time to the early electronic Bach, Frank. I'm also, okay. And then she's got something for Frank. Is early electronic Bach? Is there? I don't know. I just think that I think something that was very kind of like influential on me was A Clockwork Orange. And also, yeah. So, I mean, I think that's kind of like more on the classical side of like a robotic classical or a machine classical. But I think if you guys are following me on Instagram, you see like on a lot of like the reels, I'll use like Apache. I don't know how to say that right. It's APASHE. They do a lot of stuff where it mixes like really cacophonous like EDM and then like classical music or classical at least chord progressions. And so I don't know. I just find that interesting. I'm not sure why. It just, I don't know. That's what resonates, I guess. Oh, Tony Vu says, what's up, everyone? Made some Korean soup today. Just made it look so good. Oh, yeah. Yeah, a lot of people said that about the food from over last weekend. It was good. I did a lot of good eating. I did eat like a lot of food though. Like towards the end of the weekend, it's just like I don't even feel like eating anymore. I'm just eating for the principle of it. Because it's like, I know that you can get a lot of that same food here in Chicago, but flavors are a little bit different. There's regionality to it, different preferences, and so it's also it's like I'm eating with my dad, I'm eating with my mom, so that's another different thing about it too. But yeah. Emma says I listen to Lady Gaga for the most part. Never get sick of it, and it's very up tempo. LOL. Isn't it? I'm trying to think. I don't really listen to a lot of Lady Gaga. C-Town fan says, best Chicago movie, Ferris Bueller's Day Off. That's a good one. I would also put in the running Adventures in Babysitting. Did you guys ever remember that one? You gotta be probably as old as me, if not older, to remember that one. Although I don't think that quite has as many like Chicago-ish I mean, it had some very big Chicago-ish references, but I was just thinking about that movie today as I was going for my run, and so that's also I think of Chicago quite a bit when I think about that movie. I was thinking about it because I was listening to I'll Have Another with Lindsay Hine. She was interviewing Scott Fauble, and they were just talking about movies and like Redbox and Netflix when you have, like how you have to return the DVD. And they got on the subject of Blockbuster, and she's like, "Are you old enough to remember Blockbuster?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, I definitely remember Blockbuster. I remember when I remember when Blockbuster switched from VHS to DVD." And so yeah, so I mean that's what's going back. But I very distinctly remember that the first movie when my family got like a Blockbuster card, the first movie we ever rented was Adventures in Babysitting. So yeah. Frank says The Untouchables was in Chicago. Was it? I don't remember that. CV76 says Jaws was filmed on Lake Michigan. Was it? No, it wasn't. There's no way. Tony Macias says Backdraft was a Chicago movie too. Great movie. Oh, that was a good movie. Do you remember how they advertised that movie, Backdraft? They advertised it as it'll do for firefighters what Top Gun did for pilots. That was like a weird. I mean, that's the only thing that I remember about the advertising. And frankly, I know I saw the movie, and remember thinking it was very good, but I couldn't tell you anything about the plot line right now. But it like the tagline of the advertising that it'll do for pilots. It'll do for firefighters what Top Gun did for pilots. That, for some reason, is just like stuck in my brain. It's in here. Oh, Frank, The Fugitive. There you go. That one is very Chicago because they talk about the river dying green. That one I think is very Chicago. I think that's probably. I mean, it's not as fun as Adventures in Babysitting or Ferris Bueller's Day Off, but it definitely has a really strong Chicago feel to it. That's a good one. That's a really good one. I also feel like The Dark Knight too, because they shot a lot of it in Chicago. And when I don't remember which one I think the first one of the Nolan series. I think the first two were shot in Chicago. I just feel I know like Gotham is supposed to be New York, but like the way it was shot and the architecture and just the way even a lot of the cinematography leads into it. I feel like that also has a very strong Chicago feel for me too. But I don't know. Probably most people probably don't see that. CV76 says Blockbuster versus Hollywood Video. There used to be a Hollywood Video around the corner from us in this neighborhood, and it lasted a really long time. It was holding on. It was holding on. I mean, I remember it was still, we moved into this neighborhood 2007. It was still, I think it was still there. I mean, we moved in this neighborhood originally 2004. Then we moved down to Lincoln Park for a couple years. Then we moved back up to this neighborhood again. And at some point in there was still that Hollywood Video. It was holding on for dear life. And then it finally went out of business. And then it lay empty for years and years, just an empty space. And now it's like critical care or like urgent care. So like if you got a cold, you can go in there. But my insurance doesn't. They don't take my insurance, so like it'd be really convenient to have somewhere to go. You know, if I feel like I got it, some sort of something where some antibacterial medication would work, or whatever. What do they call it? Yeah, some medicines would work, but I can't go to that one because my insurance doesn't go there. So it's a bummer. But yeah, I preferred Blockbuster. Although I feel like towards the end, Hollywood Videos were definitely nicer than Blockbusters were. I mean, when Blockbuster, I mean, it was no surprise to me when Blockbuster went out of business because it was like, man, have you been in? I was like, have you been in a Blockbuster lately? They're always very sparse. You know, there's not a lot of movies. It feels like that are there. Like it basically all they had was the new releases. Like it was no longer like a compendium or like a library of good movies, you know. It was no longer a collection to sift through. It was just like, do they have the new release or do they have the new Bond movie or not, kind of thing. Oh, Tony Wu says the breakup with Vince Vaughn seems like a Chicago movie. That's also good, but you know what? I would say if you like the breakup as a Chicago movie, which I do think because of like like the apartment that they're in is definitely has a very Chicago feel to me, in it. But if you like that one, I feel like then you would probably also have to consider Fred Claus as a Chicago movie too. Have you guys seen that? You guys, well, you guys have kids. You've seen it. It's where Vince Vaughn is the brother of Santa Claus, and you know he's very grumpy about it. He's got a chip on his shoulder, and he runs like was it a bus tour company? Yeah, I think it's a bus tour company, or is it a riverboat? I think it's a bus tour company. And so like if you've been to Chicago, like there's all these like double decker buses with like no roof on the double decker part for tourists to kind of look around and take in the city while they're driven around on a bus. He like operates one of those. Yeah, it's actually, I mean, it's a pretty good one. I love this, guys. This is great. Runtime says Perfect Strangers was the best Chicago TV series. I mean, was Perfect Strangers the best Chicago TV series, or was Family Matters? They were both. I mean, people forget that Family Matters was a Perfect Strangers spinoff, and we've talked about this before. I'm fairly certain on this live stream, not today, but yeah, we've talked about it. But yeah, that was good because he used to work in the basement of the Tribune Tower. Larry Appleton did. And then Harriet Winslow was she was like the elevator operator. Which there are buildings in Chicago that still have elevator operators. And it's weird that they do because like if you're in those buildings after a certain time, you can just push the buttons yourself. But yeah. But some of them still have elevator operators. Tracy Smith says you got to talk about Married with Children. I mean, of course, because then they've got the Buckingham Fountain in the beginning. And I still think about that show every time Buckingham Fountain, because it goes on, and it's pretty majestic when it's on. But I think every 15 minutes, there's like a giant plume of water that shoots up probably like 50 feet into the air. And if it's a windy day, people in the vicinity will get wet. And every time it does that, I still think about Al Bundy and his neighbor Jefferson. Remember that? That was such a weird show. That was very weird. Yeah. Frank says you picked Perfect Strangers over ER. ER2, yeah, ER2 was a Chicago show. See, the thing with the ER though, I mean that hospital was supposed to be like Rush, wasn't it? So like I don't think it was supposed to be like the Northwestern Hospital here. That's closer to me. So if that's further away, that's like a whole different neighborhood. I mean, I guess we're not getting that specific in terms of what neighborhood it had to be to have a Chicago connection. But yeah, that's true. There's been a lot of Chicago in TV and in movies. It is hard to pick one. I keep forgetting about all that. The ER was a good one. Well, and then what is it? The Good Wife? That was set in Chicago, wasn't it? I mean, those are some newer shows. I mean that. I mean, I know that there's like new like Chicago shows that are like still running and on right now, but I don't. I don't watch those things. I mean, we watched The Good Wife the first season, and after the first season, I was like, oh, this is just gonna keep dragging on forever, isn't it? Mm. Adam says Blues Brothers. Yeah, that's also definitely a good one. You know, I've seen it once, Blues Brothers, but that's another one of those movies where I don't really remember what it's about. Hmm. Martha says my grandfather went to Rush for medical school. He was the first doctor to use antibiotics in Oklahoma, where he went after graduating. Wow, amazing. That's pretty cool. Very cool. Yeah. All right. I think I saw something about running. Adam says, speaking of the pre-meet is this weekend. World record attempts in the women's 2 mile and the men's 5,000 on Friday. I feel like there's been a lot of people scratching from that meet, right? But I feel like some of those lineups are looking pretty good. But it should be a good one. It should be interesting. I don't know. I have no idea how to watch it. But I have a feeling we're going to be going to Iowa this weekend for the long weekend. So I have a feeling that I'm not going to be able to watch much of that. You got to think about that for a little bit. All right. Adam wants to know, he was talking about best running movies. I feel like this is a conversation we've had a couple of times. In the live stream, and he says Forrest Gump is not a running movie. I feel like Forrest Gump, like, you know what's amazing? You know what I think is incredible? Is that there's never been a Forrest Gump spin-off, prequel, television series, right? Because I feel like you could take any one of those storylines and turn it into its own, like a season of something in and of itself, right? So I feel like Forrest Gump's running phase could be like an entire season. I mean, the ending would be really anticlimactic because then he's just like, I think I'll go home now. You know, like that's it. But like, I think watching that or like him and the ping pong exploits, like I just feel like there's so many of the little stories that can be expanded upon in such a very long way. And so like, I'm surprised that there haven't been any television spin-offs from that. Because I mean, do you guys remember? I'm a huge Indiana Jones fan, and I was really disappointed that the Young Indiana Jones series never lasted very long. But that was really good. I really enjoyed that. It only lasted like a season, I feel like. But I would definitely be up for. I think I would watch would you guys watch a Forrest Gump like series? Kind of like imagine if like Disney picked it up and did like a Mandalorian treatment to it. I don't know. I think I would watch that. All right, let's see what else we got here. Going back to the meet for the weekend, Seatown Band was looking forward to Jakob versus Cole. Yeah, I think that's going to be a good one. I mean, hopefully it's a nail biter, right? But who knows? Who knows what's going to happen there? Somehow I feel like it's not going to. I don't know. I'm not sure. JC says, going back to the Forrest Gump like series, I'd watch anything Forrest Gump, but fear it would suck. Yeah, I mean that's the thing. It's like, you don't want people to ruin stuff. And Shannon says like only if it was Tom Hanks playing Forrest. And I forget where I was, who wrote about it, who reported it. But I think that like there was an interview with someone at Disney in charge of Star Wars stuff. And they were like, one of the biggest lessons we learned from the Solo movie, the Han Solo movie, was that like you can't do those backstory movies if the original character isn't involved. And I was like, but I liked Solo. I thought that that was a lot of fun. I felt like more of an Indiana Jones movie than any of the latest Indiana Jones movies. I was like, I enjoyed it. It was fun cinema, you know? But yeah, would you, I mean, who, I mean, like, I think that I could accept someone else playing, like a younger Forrest, even if it wasn't Tom Hanks, you know? But like, would it have to be like, would we need to have like Tom Hanks like at the end of each episode, like reminiscing? Like, is he telling the story? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I'm not sure. Yeah, Mark says the Forrest Gump spinoff seems like a good idea, but it's a big chance to take messing with a classic. You know, I don't think that that stopped anyone from from remaking anything before, though. You know, so yeah. Oh, Tony Vu says maybe Lieutenant Dan spinoff, but Forrest Gump is perfect to me, so I'd rather have the original content. I think that's a better way to do it too, is to take another character who has a. I mean, Lieutenant Dan's a pretty important character in that movie, but I also like the idea of taking someone who has like a nugget of a role and then just like exploding that. So I think that's kind of fun. Um, like, yeah. So I think, I mean, like that I think that would work. That would, I don't know if like Lieutenant Dan's the right character, but I don't know who would be. But I just think that that would be really fun to kind of do. And people like kind of period shows, and that's kind of what it would be. But they would have the flexibility of jumping all over, you know. I don't know. All right. Adam thinks that in versus for that mile race, it's going to be Jakob versus Kipsang. Cole is an after ran. You think so? You don't? Do you think that he's not going to get to that world level pace, that world level, or do you think he's not there yet? I'm not sure. I mean, he's fast, but like, I mean, he's really fast. So I don't know. Frank wants to know if Chariot's in the race too. I'm not sure. Mm. Yeah, JC says that the Elvis kid who stayed at the house might be a good subject for a movie. That's funny. uh, that's funny. Mm. Yeah, Tony says that Cole and Cooper just aren't there yet. I mean, you got to remember they're still young. They're still kids, you know. They're still really, really young. And I think that not that Jakob Ingebrigtsen is old, you know, but you know I think that they have some not maturing, but I think that like they're still on their upper trajectory. I don't think they're at like their peak where I don't know. Jakob is kind of like on top of things. So Adam says, and that Chariot's on fire. So yeah, I mean they're the hometown favorites. Right, but I don't think that's going to be enough. I would love to see it. I'd love to see it be really close, but I'm not sure. Yeah. So, but I'll definitely be watching the replay of the race. I'm just not sure with the weekend, and I'm not sure what else I'll be doing over the weekend, but I'm not sure. Frank says it's hard to see the Americans in the same conversation as Kipsang, Chariot, and Ing. Yeah, they are on a different level. I don't think it's like a completely different level, but yeah. But I don't know. Home turf, they're getting ready. But then it's like if they do, let's say Cole Hawker has like or Cole Hawker has like a really great day, and Croupier has a really great day. Then it's gonna be like, oh, did they peak too soon? Because like the real peak, I mean. Pre's important, but like world is the meat you got to be ready for, right? So it's like, ooh, what does that mean? So, and even if they don't do as well as everyone in Oregon wants them to do right now, you know, that also means that they still have time, you know. So we'll see. Frank said like you could see them breaking Webb's record and still losing in that race. I think that'd probably be likely, you know. Yeah, Tony says that Hawker is 20. Jakob Ingebrigtsen's 21. And Cooper Tier is 20. I didn't know Cooper Tier was 22. I thought he was still like in that, not that 22 and 20 are that different, but I thought he was the same age as Cole Hawker. Interesting. All right. Yeah. So plenty to think about. I think people will be talking about the race for a while. But I'm looking forward to it. I'm definitely looking forward to it. All right, guys. I think that's going to be a good place to leave it for me today. That was a lot of fun to talk about all the Blockbuster video and all the Chicago stuff. So thanks, guys, for the great conversation today. Tomorrow, the video for the Polar Pacer Pro will come out. I'm done with studying for that test now, so I can get back to focusing on videos. So that video will be out, and then we'll do another live stream tomorrow, same time as today, 1 p.m. Central. Until then, be safe out there, everybody. Thanks.